Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda and I'm here with my brother Eric.
What's up everybody? We are here with our Big Bang Theory podcast as we are now starting with season 1 episodes 5 and 6 here today. That is the Hamburger Postulate and the Middle Earth Paradigm.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. I will say this.
This is the first time we see the Cheesecake Factory, right?
It is. It is for sure.
Yeah.
I'm getting into these titles because I'm realizing as we're going that they're picking something very random from each episode. You know, unlike Friends, which we've now done for a while. The Friends episodes usually are centered, like the title is centered around the core thing that happened. In these...
Although sometimes...
Well, sometimes it's not. That's what I'm saying. That's why I have issues with that. But these are clearly centered, like these titles are on not the first, second, or even third most important story of the episode. They're just of something that happened in that episthat So, I'm getting on board.
Right. Although you could argue, I guess, with the Hamburger Postulate that the whole reason that the episode centered around the hamburger because that put them in the position to have the encounter with Leslie, which then was the whole unraveling.
Well, it's not the hamburger. The Hamburger Postulate is not what happened. That happened because of them being there. They were there to see Penny. What are we talking about here?
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Sheldon was forced to choose that hamburger because he could not go to Big Boy. He was not given that option.
It worked out
Leonard's
really
like, this
well
is what's
for
happening
Leonard.
now.
Yeah, it worked out well for Leonard that Sheldon was on board.
That's true. And as far as the Middle Earth Paradigm, well, yeah, that one is a bit more of a stretch, I would say.
Well, that's only really because he dressed as Frodo.
As Frodo, exactly. And I guess that is just centered around his argument to Kurt as to who he really was, that he was a hobbit and not an elf or a dwarf or any of the other number of things.
I believe he also called him a leprechaun at one point.
Thank you. That was the other one. Yes, a leprechaun. Yes. But we'll get there. And yeah, so I see what you're saying. They're not really honing in on the central theme of the episode, but you can see where it applies. Maybe even more of a stretch than the Friends titles, though, is I think what you're saying.
Yeah, because let's just take episode 4, which is the last one that we did, which was the luminous fish effect. If it was Friends, they would have called it the one where Sheldon gets fired.
Sure. Yep.
And instead, it is the luminous fish effect, which, first of all, I love that they try to keep them scientific. That is awesome. Yep. But then also to touch just on one of the things that Sheldon was working on, and one that we didn't see a whole lot of until the very last seconds of the show, made a ton of sense to me. I think that's funny.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I hear what you're saying, although I think there are a number of Friends titles that are centered around some random, a very small theme within the show as well. But
here's all I'm saying.
It almost makes you more interested to understand, wait, what is that even about?
All I want is consistency. Okay, if you're gonna name it after the main thing, name it after the main thing. If you're gonna do something like this where you're gonna keep them scientific and you're gonna name them after some random thing from the show, I'm on board with that too. But just be the same. Friends does not do that. Friends has too many oddball titles out there that don't make sense.
Well, I think the consistency is in the formulation of the title, right? It's more about the one where, the one with, and that's the only consistent part.
I like that part.
And with the titles here, it's always some type of scientific theory.
Well, not only that, but they all seem to start with the so far.
Yes, they do. I actually, when I was looking at the titles, the only one that doesn't was literally the pilot, and it's just called Pilot.
I was going to say, as I'm
the only one.
I haven't done the long run check, but it seems like they all do. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That's what we've found so far. But guys, if you're into Big Bang Theory, if you're into Friends, if you like what we're doing here on this podcast, please throw us some 5-star ratings. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family. We would really appreciate that. And throw us some comments. Give us, tell us what you think, what you like, what you would like to see in the future. We would just love any feedback that you guys have to offer. Where we left things off last week, Eric, we had Leonard asking Penny out to dinner, but she didn't know it was actually a date. Yeah. We also had Sheldon getting fired after insulting his new boss, but when he wouldn't apologize, his mom came into town and she took control of that situation and really got him out of some hot water, which I guess we've kind of talked about. That was clearly not the first time that mommy came around to save Sheldon, right?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but we got to meet Sheldon's mom, and that was definitely the highlight of those 2 episodes. I think we agreed upon that. So, yeah. That's where we left things last week.
And I will say this. We have started basically 4 episodes here where everything is Leonard, Sheldon, and Penny. The whole story revolves around them. And I do think today we start to see a little bit more branching out into incorporating Howard and Raj a little bit more into this show. Some just with the guys, some on their own, and I think that is that's necessary for this show, and they know that, but they've now well established at this point what the core philosophy here is, and now it's time to start moving into developing all of these characters. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in full disclosure, I accidentally actually watched ahead, thinking that I was watching episode 6. It was actually episode 8. But what I did find out for watching that one on a rewatch was, oh yeah, this is how quickly we start to see more into Raj's life specifically. I don't remember what happened on episode 7 yet, and maybe that's something with Howard, but I do know that episode 8 is more centered around Raj. So we will very soon, actually in our next episode of Big Bang, we'll be talking more about him specifically. So I guess things really do start to become more about the whole group.
They need to
very soon.
I mean, they need to. This has been, this very much like Friends, where there is a strong focus on establishing, hey, Ross and Rachel is the thing that we want to pay attention to.
Sure.
But I feel like Friends did a better job of making sure they incorporated, Chandler, Joey, Monica, and Phoebe all in their own ways. Raj and Howard have had very few lines through 4 episodes at this point.
Yeah.
Like, they're in the background a little, but, they've only had a handful of things to say. As we go forward today, it gets a little better. So I feel like that's promising for those 2. But let's start this one. This is season 1, episode 5. This is the Hamburger Postulate. And so, as we've done, with our Friends episodes, I tend to break it down into the multiple storylines that are going on. And right now, we kind of have one story that takes place. And I know at some point the Big Bang Theory will start breaking off into multiple stories, or at least have multiple avenues that the characters are running at the same time. But for now, I'm just going to do a really, really fast synopsis of the episode, and then we can kind of jump into different areas here. So we have Sheldon at the Cheesecake Factory struggling to make an order because it's not Big Boy and he doesn't know how to choose something that's not something that's already familiar to him. And this is when the gentlemen are sitting at the table and Leslie Winkle enters into the Cheesecake Factory, and she is introduced to Penny. We learn that Leonard plays the cello and that he has been invited to play as part of a quartet with Leslie. And Penny makes a statement about, oh, it's too bad you two would have made it a cute couple once she finds out that Leonard's been rejected by Leslie. And Leonard cannot make heads or tails of this. He's trying to figure out what exactly she meant by that. Was she being honest? Was it just like oh, it's too bad, like that would have been really good, but secretly she's so happy that he is, still available. Thoughts on this section? Let's break it down instead of running through the whole thing.
Yeah.
What do you think here?
Well, I just think that this is pretty relatable, I guess, to me, where it's
for sure.
I like you hear one piece of feedback or like a comment from someone that you're interested in. It's like, wait, what does it all mean? You know what I mean? And he starts like just over analyzing like any possible scenario how this could play out and what Penny was really thinking without just directly asking her what it meant, and he's running through all this with Sheldon, and Sheldon's just sort of like, I really could care less, but is listening to Leonard, theorize over what all the different scenarios that this could play out with Penny. But I just found this to be relatable with Leonard.
And not only is it relatable, but it's relatable to everybody. And at the same time, Leonard makes it sound like a science experiment as it's going on. And Sheldon, who is not well versed in social situations, but understands science, is following Leonard's like experiment and is like, yeah, I actually understand what you're saying. You're lucky that I'm one of the few people in the Western Hemisphere that actually followed your train of thought. Love that from Sheldon. And this is all transpiring as they ascend the staircase, which becomes like a very popular theme throughout this.
That's right.
So as we go, we see the cello quartet playing at Leonard's apartment, and essentially the two other people from the quartet leave, and Leslie hangs back to practice a little bit more, and then she says outright, just so you know, me hanging back is the pretext for sexual availability. And Leonard is taken aback by this because she's already rejected him recently. And so we have this whole situation between him and Leslie, and they're like flirting via music, and then they end up engaging in this sexual relationship in Leonard's bedroom, of which Sheldon now loses his mind because Leonard has put a tie on the doorknob, and he doesn't know what it means. So he has to go get Penny to come next door to look at the door to try and figure out what is going on here. And Penny is the one who has to break down like what this all means. And she's saying like, listen, you went to college. He's like, yeah, but I was 11.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, right. It's like, I was not picking up on this at all. I was 11 years old. Yeah, I mean, going back a minute though, like with Leslie and Sheldon, where she's just like, I'm seducing you. I'm a passionate and impulsive
not Sheldon,
woman.
not Sheldon, Leonard.
Oh my God, I keep doing that with the two of them. Yes, I keep mixing up Sheldon and Leonard. Yes, Leslie is definitely not seducing Sheldon.
No.
She is seducing Leonard, and she's just saying, I'm seducing you, and I'm a passionate and impulsive woman. So how about it? It's like, this girl is just all business, so cut and dry. She doesn't crack a smile ever. Like, she's just like right to the point. And I also, I don't know, this to me, I think Leonard at this point is really just wanting to, I almost wonder if he's wanting to make Penny a little bit jealous here, because he could sense at the restaurant that she was wondering what was going on between the two of them, and if he's just like, listen, I just want to hook up with someone, and it's just as simple as that. I think it's somewhere in between.
I think it is, not that he has tons of interest for Leslie, but he doesn't not have interest in Leslie. And at the same time, I think over the last few episodes, he kind of has come to the conclusion that, you know what? Like, maybe I am living in this pipe dream, and Penny is not interested in me at all. And so why should I, pause my whole life for this?
That's true.
Meanwhile, Penny, after calculating all the signs that Sheldon has freaked out about, is sitting on the couch going, good for Leonard. And you kind of get this vibe that, oh, wait, hold on a second. This is the first moment that you go, maybe Penny is interested in Leonard.
Oh, they definitely zoom in on her facial expression where she's, good for Leonard. Great.
And then she's like,
here.
Gotta
and then
go.
She doesn't not want to stick around.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. So maybe it's not all in Leonard's head. I do like then the phone call that Sheldon makes after this to Leonard. Like to say, hey, by the way, I saw the tie. Message received.
Oh, Sheldon. It's like, you don't need to say it. And he's like, just carry on. Give my best to Leslie. This is, and you just see him sitting on the couch, awkwardly looking at his watch, which then in the next scene where he's waking up on the couch, does he not want to even go back to his bedroom?
I don't think he
because
knew.
It shares a wall with Leonard.
He didn't know what to do. He was so uncomfortable even sitting in his own spot. And it's like, you could have just left, Sheldon. You could have gone somewhere.
Yeah.
Go to the comic book store. I know it hasn't been introduced yet, but we know it's there. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So after this, we have Sheldon, waking up in the morning, and he's realizing that someone has touched his board.
Oh,
and it it comes out to be Leslie, and that Leslie has actually fixed one of his calculations. And he's not sitting too kindly with that. But we do have a Leslie going up to Leonard saying, hey, thanks for the great night. And then taps him on the shoulder. And that's about it. Then says something to Leonard. I'm sorry, says something to Sheldon about the board. I forget exactly what her line was. But he said that he would never. He said he would never go to her apartment and mess with her boards. And she said, there are no incorrect equations on my board.
Exactly. And he's like, and he tries to come up with some type of comeback for her. And she's like, well, if you come up with an adjective, you can text it to me. And finally, when she leaves, he does think that she's been inconsiderate, and he immediately goes to text her. I mean, he obviously is very upset that she outsmarted him on his own board, and I love this moment because it's like, you know what, someone else might be able to help you even with your equations, but this is all Sheldon has, so he's not happy about this.
It's also, I mean, this is only episode 5, and it's a glimpse into the idea that Sheldon's not just always right all the time, like Leonard and Leslie and all these other scientists are able to provide better information from time to time, but Sheldon is unwilling to hear it ever. So that is a noteworthy character development stance, I guess, especially from the other characters to showcase, no, they are also on his level.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. Yep. And sometimes Sheldon might have something to learn from them as well, but he does not want to hear it. Yeah.
Well, we go out into the hallway where Leonard is getting ready to head out, and this is where he runs into Penny, who's done her laundry, and she is saying, hey, a little birdie told me that you and Leslie hooked up last night. And
Sheldon!
Super mad at Sheldon, even though he doesn't know that Penny was literally outside the door. Like, she was right there.
She was right. It was way more than him just telling her.
This was not like Sheldon
this was bad.
letting her know. This was Sheldon like inviting her into the apartment while it was going on.
Oh, they could even hear through the door at one point Leslie saying, "Oh, Leonard, you magnificent beast," in a very, just like that, in a very monotone voice. It's like, this would be mortifying. Yeah, do not do this to your friend. No.
Well, she does say, hey, I'm happy for you. And now this spirals Leonard again into, well, what does that mean? What does I'm happy for you mean? What does that mean? And so there's a whole conversation about that. And as they eventually get to work, we see Leonard going to see Leslie, and she is flash freezing bananas in, I forget what that stuff is called. But essentially, he tries to...
Is it like nitrogen or something?
Listen, I was going to guess, but I don't want to be wrong. And so I'm not going to guess. It's something.
Dry ice? Yeah.
Let's say, sure. That being said, they move... What was it? Leonard is acting like a boyfriend at this point. And Leslie is clearly not having it. And she even says to him, "What do you think is going on here?" And he's like, "I don't know, but I think I'm not going to like the answer." And the answer is, she's only in this for sex, and only in it whenever she feels as though she requires it. Which means, according to her, she's good until about New Year's, which this is like September. So you've got about 4 months to go. And of course she says, "Hey, listen, I don't know what your sex drive is like, but I'm good till New Year's." So there's definitely an open door here to fulfill Leonard's sex drive as well, whatever that may or may not be. But I think Leonard is not really interested in this sort of relationship.
No. So I did confirm just now it's liquid nitrogen. I'm a little bit proud of myself that
good for
just
you.
had to
Did
get
you
to the bottom
figure
of that.
out what can flash freeze a banana?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Liquid nitrogen.
No, okay. Is that how you Googled it though?
No, I just Googled what was Leslie using.
Oh, there you go.
Freeze a
Okay.
banana. Yeah. I got right down to the specifics. 320 degrees, apparently. Yeah.
Well, after this scene, we see Howard running into Leonard, being like, "Hey, yeah, someone put this all online." He's like, "What? Who would do that?" He's like, "I did." And so now we're learning that Howard is quick with the gossip and willing to just blast it all over the inner space for his, blogs purpose, I suppose. This is when people still did blogs. And now we have kind of our ending sequence with Sheldon determining that the Cheesecake Factory will be his new Tuesday hamburger location. And he's thinking that we're not going to get rid of Big Boy. We'll just move that to Thursday, and we're going to get rid of Soup Plantation, because I didn't understand why soup plantation. You can't grow soup on a plantation.
I don't disagree with that. That is a very strange name for
when
a
he
restaurant.
said that, my first thought was exactly what Leonard said at the end of this episode, which is, yeah, but you can grow all the ingredients for soup on a plantation.
Okay. Yeah.
Like they're all there.
Growing the soup there.
Anyway, well, our kind of final moment with this is that when Penny finds out that Leonard is not really going to be in a long-term relationship with Leslie, we see her walk away smiling.
And she touches his shoulder when she's like, "Well, I'm sure there's someone else out there for you. Who's right for you." And you can tell she's happy that things did not work out.
She's totally happy about it, but Leonard doesn't. This is like away from Leonard, so he can't see that she's happy about it.
No.
And so now he's like, "Well, what does that mean?"
What does that all mean?
But we as viewers are in tune with this. I don't know. What do you think about this episode just in general? Are there any things that I left out that we need to touch in on?
Well, there was also a moment early on in the very beginning of the episode when Penny met Leslie at the Cheesecake Factory, and she's like, oh, a girl scientist, which I think to her is like, oh, like this person is gonna understand Leonard a lot more than me. I feel like is what she's thinking in her mind is like, oh, this is someone that will get Leonard more intellectually, and maybe I can't really compete with that. You know, I think like she's almost thinking maybe they're a better match, you know, or maybe even subconsciously at this point in her mind, just like, well, you know, if he's interested in her, I'm sure that just makes sense, you know, and hopefully it works out. And I don't think a lot of this is necessarily this conscious thought on Penny's part where she's like, man, I'm super jealous because Leonard has this other woman in his life. Like, I think it's much more subtle than that, you know. But the idea that she's also a scientist, you know, maybe is she's just a better fit for Leonard. That's kind of how I took that.
I think that would be like the second thought. I genuinely think Penny's first thought as being someone who is from, you know, Nebraska and is playing definitely like more dumb blonde, not knowing some basic things. She might not know that there are female scientists, genuinely.
Oh boy, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually think
that's true. We could just take it back to basics,
some
right?
real face value to this. Like, female scientists, like what? And it's like, yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that's a thing, Penny.
I do think that there's more on that. And then I think you're right. What you went to, which is this would be a much better fit for Leonard. Like, yeah, like that thought does come in second. Mm-hmm. But I genuinely think she didn't know that there were female scientists.
Yeah. And I think also because she can tell that Leonard has had this, you know, he asked her out with not directly asking her out in the last episodes, and he's like, she could tell he's like interested, but without really saying it, just in this really cute, you know, shy way. I think she probably likes that attention and is like, oh, okay, well, maybe that's not really, you know, anything serious though, because he has this other girl. Like, I think there's just all these potential thoughts looming in Penny's minds. But I just like that, that interaction between the two of them, and how Leslie also just like happened to show up and bump into them there, but like she wasn't even with like anyone else. So it was a little bit of a confusing scene having Leslie show up. Like, why she wasn't there to find the boys.
No,
she said that she just happened to see them there.
She said, oh, I don't usually see you here, when she walks in, which to me meant she goes frequent here regularly. Okay. So I would imagine that means she was just there, like, or she was showing up there for the first time. You know, she was going to her table or whatever.
That means a little bit. Yeah, I was going to say, I also have a little bit of an issue with the Cheesecake Factory menu that they show on the screen, because it's like one page, and anyone who's been to the Cheesecake Factory ever knows that it's like 30 pages long, and Sheldon's head might explode if he saw the actual.
If Sheldon was handed an actual Cheesecake Factory menu, his head would explode. You're right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he would have any awareness. Like, he struggled with the fact that Penny listed 3 or 4 burgers.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Right. Oh. It's a lot.
Well, let's also touch on this before we move to the next one. Howard and Raj, they did not really kind of show up in my quick synopsis, but Howard certainly had some lines at the Cheesecake Factory in that opening scene, trying to talk to, like, describing Penny to Leslie as someone who like walks in with quiet grace or whatever, and Penny's like, listen, Howard, I told you not to do that, like, stop right now. Mm-hmm. And so You see Penny shutting down Howard again. Penny takes all their orders, and then Raj is sitting there like, oh, she didn't take my order. And so she just, after the whole Leslie thing, forgot to get Raj's order. And of course, Howard is pointing out, well, how would you do that? You're not even going to talk to her. So, there were moments there with Howard and Raj. There were also moments at the in the hallway at the university with Howard putting the stuff on the blog and Raj talking to them as well. Like, so there were moments here and there, maybe more than in other episodes, but still not a ton. Not a ton of these guys yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did learn that Johnny Galecki, Leonard, really does know how to play the cello. And in that scene, though, he turned his bow around and he was playing it with the wooden side so that, like, in the pre-recording, it wouldn't, like, mess up the audio, I guess.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so that
I
was
just
cool.
assumed that they were not truly playing those instruments.
Yeah, but I guess he really can, because, like, kind of faking the movements maybe obviously would be easier for someone if they really do. Or making it look realistic would be easier if someone really does know how to play. But yeah, I mean, again, I just really find in this episode the reaction of Sheldon to having Leonard in the other room with Leslie really funny. Do I stay? Give them a refreshing beverage? It's like, Sheldon. And this just goes to show how often this never happens for him, right? Like, this is not anything that they've ever had to deal with.
No, and apparently the last time this happened, Sheldon was able to book a cruise. Like, it was that.
Yes.
There was, like, advance notice and. Yeah. I mean.
But we do not get the classic Sheldon knock, though, when he goes over to Penny's. I don't know if you picked up on that, but he just straight up knocks on her door, and that is not what we're going to see. They must bring that in the near future.
I mean, listen, that's as much of a staple in this show as anything else. And
yes.
He does not in this episode. He just kind of flies across the hall and just starts banging on the door. That would not be his typical move. I would say that a panicked Sheldon might forego his, traditions.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. We see that it's pretty tried. Like the rest of the series, listen, I think he does that even no matter what his state is.
He does, because you know what happens is they establish it as a thing, and then he never goes away from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think even when she opens the door, he has to continue to knock at different points. But I also have to comment.
He absolutely does.
Yeah. I also have to comment on, again, when we have Penny coming up the stairs with the laundry and she's like, so how's it going?
Yeah.
To Leonard and gives the little birdie line about Sheldon telling her that they've been together, or well, she doesn't outright say it, but it's obvious. She's saying to him, is it serious? Do you like her? Like, what does it all mean? And it's like, okay, like, it's clear that she has some type of interest, right? I mean, I feel like this type of questioning, I don't know, like that, you don't really, like, I guess you could take it as just like playful banter, or like just her being like inquisitive, but to me it's very much telling us that her asking, she's got some type of interest in Leonard already. So, I feel like it plants that seed very early on. So
I did not necessarily take that way. You absolutely could take it that way. Yeah. The way I viewed it is, we have not seen Penny with other friends. Really.
Yeah.
So it's clear that she's becoming like really good friends with this group of guys. And is this just something she would do with her girlfriends that maybe she doesn't have a lot of?
That's true. Yeah. Could be a friend zone thing too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's this is why I think Leonard is very confused by the whole situation.
That's true. I guess Leonard is like the audience in this episode, kind of like, what does it all mean?
Right.
And it's so hard to like separate from, well, since we know where their relationship goes, just seeing these early on episodes, it's like, yeah, were the signs there from the beginning? Now, maybe a little bit. But.
Now we have, going into that moment, we do have the moment where we can clearly see that she's disappointed on the couch that he's hooked up with somebody.
Yes, right.
So there is some of that lays into it, but I also think that this doesn't seem to be because I'm interested. This just seems to be more friendly, I think.
Well, I think it's also combined with, like, listen, she's clearly very kind and sweet to Leonard, and she is kind to the rest of the group too, but she definitely has more like cutting replies to specifically Howard that we'll see. And because I mean, come on, Howard, to me that still is being very nice to Howard, even her replies to him. But with Sheldon, even in this episode, I love when he's saying, well, Sheldon saying, who do I speak to about reserving this table every Tuesday to get my burger? She's like, I don't know, a psychiatrist? And right. I just love that so much. It's like, yeah.
Listen, this all goes back to the pilot episode where all 5 of them are in the car and Sheldon makes the assessment that Leonard is like the Mac Daddy of this car. Yes. He's like, I don't know what your thoughts are against the rest of the world, but in this vehicle, you are the catch. And like,
that's true.
I think Penny knows that. And I think this also, listen, this Leslie Winkle thing ultimately showcases to Penny that Leonard is a desirable person.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that plays in. If she thinks that he's just going to sit next door forever, not having any relationships, and then this happens, now all of a sudden she's like, well, wait a minute. Now I've got to like actually make a play here.
Oh, yeah. This totally worked. And yeah, Sheldon actually bringing Penny into the apartment totally worked in Leonard's favor.
It really did.
In a very backwards, messed up way.
It really did, though. Like, that is what was needed.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Well, now we're going to jump into season 1, episode 6, which is the Middle Earth Paradigm. And let's just call this the Halloween episode, shall we?
Yeah, like, I would say so.
That's where we're at now. We're at, I guess, end of October. So, you know, I think earlier I said, what is it, September now for Leslie's, you know, sex drive to New Year's, but it must be October. Yeah. Maybe they started the show in September and not August. I forget exactly how, you know, shows started back then.
I think it was always like around the school year.
It was around school year, like, right? But school years have changed, and it's all over the place. Mm-hmm. That being said, we see the gentleman coming back from a paintball game, which clearly went poorly since they are all covered in paint. As Sheldon is yelling, what is that?
They lost to a bar mitzvah party.
They did. And Sheldon is yelling at Howard because it seems as though Howard may have like launched an attack on his own team out of frustration. And so Sheldon is claiming that there will be an inquiry and we're going to get to the bottom of this whole thing. Yeah. And then Penny comes outside and is inviting the guys to a Halloween party. And the boys are like, is it a boy-girl party? She's like, well, there will be boys and there will be girls and we'll be doing dancing and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, yeah, party. No, I think we're okay, until she mentions that it's a Halloween party. Like, they're like, will there be costumes? Yes. And then the 4 of them are like, well, hold on. There's costume party. Now we're in. And you can see like the priority here. Even though you get Howard being as, you know, driven as he is to just flirt with anybody.
Yeah.
We have a opportunity to go to a boy-girl party with dancing, and they're gonna turn it down until there's costumes involved.
Yeah,
and
Howard is all talk in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yes. But it's very interesting to see them immediately go into the inquiry about, well, is there a theme? Like, is it, anything from this? Can I do this? Can I wear this? Can I wear this? And it's like, no. Whatever you want.
Yeah, relax, right. Yeah.
So, of course, the boys go next door. We get the credits, and then we see Leonard dressed up as the Flash, getting ready. And then soon, Howard busts through the door also as the Flash. And then Sheldon is also the Flash. And then Raj comes around. He's also the Flash. And they're like, this is why we're supposed to have a meeting. So they decide, okay, no one gets to be the Flash. And everyone starts walking back to change into something different. And that's when Leonard yells out, I call Frodo. So he gets to be Frodo. And we have Raj then dress as Thor. We have Howard dress as Robin Hood / Peter Pan. And we have Sheldon as the Doppler effect, or what everybody thinks is a zebra.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Howard. Yeah. Buddy, I could tell you're Robin Hood. You had the little the quiver, and he had
when
the bow.
When he was sitting on the table, and like tying his shoe or whatever he was doing, I thought, man, Peter Pan's a weird choice for Howard.
So you thought it too?
I thought it was Peter Pan right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then someone called him Peter Pan. And he's like, I'm not Peter Pan. I'm Robin Hood. And he had his quiver and his bow. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm tracking you. You're Robin Hood.
But
now.
if it wasn't for that, you're right. It's
but
basically the same
I was
costume.
thinking, and the difference between Peter Pan and Robin Hood, like Robin Hood, you gotta like use a slightly different green, I think. Or you got to put more with it. Like there's got to be something else, because that looked like a Peter Pan outfit with a bow and arrow.
And it's probably, his haircut too, his slender build. It probably all went to a lot of that confusion. So
absolutely.
That was really funny. I wonder if there was actual confusion like on the set with the costume, and that led to this joke, because I could see that.
Very possible.
Yeah.
I think they also, it's like, let's give the set design some credit. They also may have been told, hey, make a Peter Pan costume that could also be like Robin Hood.
Yeah.
They just designed it exactly the way it should be.
There's a lot of overlap. There's
a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
So we then get Leonard talking to Sheldon about, listen,
yes,
this is my opportunity to go into a social situation with Penny, where she can see me as a peer in a social environment. You cannot embarrass me today. And he starts going through all these examples as things that Sheldon has done before that would embarrass him. And so Sheldon somewhat agrees to this, I think.
We learned that Leonard's middle name is Leaky.
Has nothing to do with his bedwetting.
Nope. And it's like, wow, yeah, that is rough. He has not been given an easy hand to deal with.
No. So the boys, though, show up at Penny's at 7:05 because the party starts at 7. And, of course, Penny thinks, well, if you say the party starts at 7, nobody shows up till, like, 10. And they're like, yeah, but it's 7:05.
Yeah. Yeah, so, Penny, like, isn't even in costume. She hasn't showered. There's literally nothing ready. It's like, wow.
Okay. Genuinely, if I was Penny, I would have said, hey, guys, just go back to your place. Come by at 9.
Yeah.
You know, but she lets him hang out. And she's like, oh, just come on in. And so they hang out and stay. And we get this cool time lapse where the four of them sitting on the couch, just waiting for Penny to get ready, into the four of them sitting in the exact same spot on the couch, and a party happening around them.
Yes.
They're not really involved in this party. They're just present at it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and this does make a whole lot of sense. I like how then Howard is convinced that he's going to use his mirroring techniques to hit on the woman who's dressed up as a nurse. This does not go well for Howard. I don't think you don't really see him actually using the mirroring technique.
No, he does. He does.
Oh, does he?
When he says something like, if that stethoscope is real, like you could hear my heart skip a beat, and she's like, no thanks. And then she crosses her arms. So then he crosses his arms. And so he tries. But that's all we see of that. I don't think it functions correctly.
No, because I think that the whole idea is that he wouldn't have dropped that awkward line first. Like you would have just stuck with the mirroring to begin with. But okay. Yeah, this is not good.
I don't know. Either way,
Sheldon wants to know when the costume parade is going to start, though.
Yes, that all happened when they walked in with Penny, and she's like, "There's not a parade. There's no prizes. There's none of this."
Oh. What's the point then?
I know,
what are they
right?
doing there?
That being said, I do think we get this moment where Sheldon is asking Leonard, like, "What are we doing?" And Leonard's like, well, we're socializing. He's like, what, telepathically? Because they're all just sitting on the couch. He's like, okay, well, I'm going in. You're coming with me. Which I think, Leonard, what a horrible decision this is.
Yeah, you'd be better off on your own.
Why are you bringing Sheldon with you? But I kind of think it shows how much, even though Sheldon might embarrass Leonard, Leonard wants Sheldon there. Like, he wants him there as like that security blanket.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
and so,
he needs like someone else to support him. He needs some type of buffer. If anything, maybe Sheldon will make something awkward and then Leonard can swoop in as being the guy who actually makes sense.
That's right.
So, yeah.
So they start kind of flirting with this one girl, which goes horribly wrong. And then Kurt shows up, the ex-boyfriend. And
in a loincloth. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
This guy.
Dude is ripped as all get out. He's probably like 6'4".
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Leonard, like this ain't the moment. But Leonard says he's going to assert his dominance as we have now moved into a technological age where intelligence is more important than physical strength. I was like, okay.
That is somewhat true, but yikes, Leonard, this took some balls. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
listen, this was the gutsiest thing Leonard may do in the entire series of the show. But he walks up to Kurt and with Sheldon behind him, and they basically have this intellectual versus physical off where Leonard is using high level intellectual words, I can't even say it, to make fun of Kurt to his face.
Yeah, he's saying that it doesn't matter that he can physically dominate him anymore because he can't match him intellectually. And Kirk is kind of like, huh? What?
Exactly.
Like, okay, you elf. Like, yeah, he just keeps...
He making fun of him and like trying to like intimidate him by standing over him and stuff. And I think he says something. I think Leonard says something like "Homo habilis, discovering their opposable thumbs says what?" And he's like, "What?
What?"
And both Sheldon and Leonard find this very funny. And of course, it's around this point where Kurt's finally had enough of this, and he just lifts Leonard off of the ground. And essentially, Penny has to scramble over to say, hey, put him down. So he does. And then Kurt walks off, really being the bigger man in this situation. But Leonard and Sheldon have had enough of this. And they're like, you know what? I think we're just going to head home. And so they leave the party and head across. And this is when we get the first moment of Sheldon bringing Leonard a hot beverage, because that's what you do when somebody is upset. which is a running theme throughout this series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would have called Kurt the bigger man in that situation, though, because the whole thing was like, he was saying to Leonard, well, I'm here talking to Penny. And he's like, well, I'm talking to Penny too, right?
I agree with all that. But I'll say this. Yeah. Kurt sat there and got made fun of by Leonard a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, Leonard did.
But did he get that he was being made fun of?
He did. Okay. He didn't know why he was being made fun of, but he did get it. Because he knew that they were saying that he couldn't spell confrontation, which he couldn't. Okay, yeah. And he's like, "Are you calling me not evolved?" You know, like he was piecing together enough of the conversation to recognize that he was being made fun of, and he took it, and then just lifted Leonard off the ground like he could throw him like a football, and I'm sure he could have if he wanted to.
Yeah. But then Sheldon, you're right. Then Sheldon's making the tea, which was very nice of Sheldon. It's a cultural convention.
It is a cultural convention. And then we end up here with Penny as Penny comes over because she is now visibly upset here because she has invited Kurt to this party. She didn't mean to do that, but they ran into each other and he seemed so nice and he wasn't going to do any of these things. But this is the type of stuff that he did that really bothered her. And now Kurt's over at her party and she can't go back over there, but because she doesn't want to see him and she's super upset and she ends up kissing Leonard.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, like that happens already.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. Like, wow. So there is definitely something already that's very much there, although she, as she says, is wasted, and Leonard is such a nice guy that he's like, what's happening here? Yeah. Like, how much have you had to drink?
He brings it up. He's like, how much have you had to drink? She's like, a lot. Mm-hmm. And they get the idea that, hey, this is not the best idea. So Penny ultimately decides, hey, I'm going to go back to my party. And she goes over to the door and then she kisses him again at the door and Kurt sees it. And I can't tell you how much I love this line from Leonard.
Oh, same.
And he's like, that's right. You saw what you saw. That's how we roll in the Shire. And then he shuts the door and like locks it, deadbolts it. Like
that is so funny. Yeah, that is like the best line for sure. I feel like out of both of these episodes, that is the line. Yeah.
We do get this scene at the very end where Raj is seen hooking up with this girl who had kind of crashed on the couch next to him once Howard and Leonard and Sheldon had all left to go on their own way. Raj was all by himself and this girl just fell next to him and said, "How wasted am I?" And that's all you saw. And now we see Raj in bed with this girl and she's like, "You are just the best listener ever." And he's like, "Yeah." Hands behind his head, feeling great. So of all of them,
but doesn't actually say yeah. He
no,
because he
just puts his hands behind his head. Yeah, but Raj is the only one of them to hook up that night.
So I have problems with this, Raj. You are too shy to say anything, but you managed to hook up with this girl. Okay.
Listen, this is
Raj.
This is not like. This isn't about that. Like, you just can't speak to them.
Yeah.
These are the rules. I don't make the rules.
Yeah, Raj. I don't know. I'm calling BS on this, Raj.
Well, listen. With Raj's whole situation of not being able to talk to women, it kind of cuts down his ability to get too involved in these episodes. But I love the way that they found a avenue for him to do that, for him to get involved here and kind of end up hooking up with this girl who's so drunk she doesn't know what's up or down. And we see Howard getting completely rejected by this other girl. And I do like we saw a lot more of Howard and Raj interacting with Leonard and Sheldon with the costume exchanges and getting ready for the party. And, Yeah, it felt like there was a lot more for them in this episode. Well, now we're going to run into our IMDb rating segment of the podcast where we rate these episodes and we stack them up against your ratings as we find them on IMDb. Not to mention, we are going to bring up our favorite and least favorite characters of these 2 episodes specifically. Amanda, where do you want to start here?
Okay. Well, I will say I feel like my favorite character in these episodes, I'm going with Sheldon, actually. I feel like Sheldon bringing Penny over to see the tie on the door, even though that was really awkward and obnoxious, it actually did help Penny understand what was going on with Sheldon. I mean, understand what was going on with Leonard. Sorry, I keep doing that. And I don't know. I just liked his awkward moment, also trying to understand that social scene. I also liked Sheldon at the Halloween party where he's kind of just authentically being himself and kind of questioning why they're even there, and was just and had no apologies about his costume, even though he was the only one that got that it was the Doppler effect. Well, outside of the boys. But yeah, I appreciated Sheldon in these episodes. How about you, Eric? Who is your favorite?
Well, again, it's very close between the 3 main characters we've got here, but I think I'm going to end up picking Leonard again. I really do like the sequence with Leonard going and seeing Leslie in the lab with the frozen bananas. I like the sequence of Leonard specifically with Kurt. I think that's the best scene in the entire 2 episodes that we had. Mm-hmm. And he seems to be at the forefront of a lot of those sorts of things. So I think I'm going to go with Leonard, although I could have easily picked Penny for this one. Yeah. So then it comes to least favorite character. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we had enough from some of the other characters that I'm going to go away from the big 3. And I'm actually going to go with Leslie as my least favorite. Yeah. I feel like I like what Leslie brings to the table, but I'm so disappointed with her for not being upfront about this whole scenario.
I know. I also went with Leslie. I feel like she kind of used Leonard. Like, I think she just was like, hey, she knew that he would hook up with her. And I think if the roles were reversed, it would have been like seen as a lot more cruel. Although I don't know why that is, but I'm just saying, like,
you're not wrong. They can't do it the other way. You can't have it the other way. You have to do this way.
If anything, she was kind of more being like the stereotypical dude in this scenario,
yes.
You know, like, yeah. But so I guess good for Leslie. Like, it's not like she like went out of her way and was just mean to him. She's always kind of been that way. So if anything, I guess like Leonard could have understood that this is just how Leslie is and probably and didn't really seem overly heartbroken about it. So it's not like that big of a deal. But yeah, Leslie, I don't know. Come on, girl.
It was between like Leslie and Howard for me here. I don't think Kurt did enough to be involved in like my least or most favorite character over 2 episodes.
That's true. Kurt.
But Kurt could have easily been a character that you would put there for sure.
True. Good point.
How about ratings? Well, let's start with this. Which of these 2 episodes was your favorite?
So I liked the Middle Earth paradigm.
No doubt. No question in my mind.
Love a good Halloween episode. I think that like really any of the holiday episodes and a lot of sitcoms tend to be fan favorites. So I feel like the Middle Earth paradigm was good.
I'm going to say anytime you can get the boys doing costumes, they're real excited about it. So those types of episodes, I think, go extra well.
Yeah. Agreed.
So what do you got?
Yeah, because I'm looking at last week. Okay, so I don't know if I liked it quite as much as I liked the luminous fish effect, which I gave an 8.6. That was the one where Sheldon's mom came into the mix.
Yep.
But I did really like it. I'm going to give it an 8.4.
Okay.
And I'm going to give the hamburger postulate then an 8.1.
Okay. I will give the Middle Earth paradigm an 8.7. I think it's my favorite episode so far. The luminous fish effect was good. This was good for a different reason. I really do like Leonard stepping up and, confronting Kurt. And then I love his walk-off line. I feel like that is something that I quote a lot, and I didn't realize that I was quoting it from Big Bang Theory. You're like, that's right, you saw what you saw. Like, I think I said that a number of times in my life, and I was like, oh, that's where I got this from.
That's right, you saw it. Yeah.
That's right, you saw what you saw. Okay. Okay, which means the hamburger postulate, I'm going to give like an 8.2. Which is, again, one of the better episodes for me so far. I was really hard on the first few. So this was a good set as far as I'm concerned. As far as the people have also given the Middle Earth paradigm the higher rating. You gave it an 8.4. I gave it an 8.7. The IMDb crowd gave it an 8.3.
Oh, okay.
And the hamburger postulate was the lower of the two. I gave it an 8.2. You gave it an 8.1. The people gave it a 7.8. I'm not shocked at this.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That makes it the second lowest episode so far. I don't know that I agree with that at all.
Yeah.
But I think...
Yeah, like, for that one to be lower than the pilot is interesting, because I feel like pilot didn't really offer really much of anything.
I'll say this. You and I have done this with friends for a long time, and sometimes when we see these alternate love interests show up, these episodes just get hit. And so I think there are a lot of people who are like, Leonard and Leslie, I don't care for that, and so it's lower.
Right. People just want to stick on like the possibility of Leonard and Penny, but it's like, hello, that's what all this is about, right?
That's what it's about.
Long term. Yeah.
Like in my honest opinion, like the best part of that episode was watching Penny realize that she's interested in Sheldon, at least I'm sorry, Leonard. Oh man, I'm gonna flip him around
you're doing it.
Oh man, it's one of those days, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see where we're going. I think we're finally starting to kind of edge into some more Howard and Raj territory, and now we've had Penny and Leonard kiss at least once, granted drunkenly.
My gosh.
But we're in not at least once, twice.
Well, twice.
We're kind of moving. Well, and I'll say this. It's only the 6th episode. That's a lot faster than I feel like I remember.
I was thinking the same thing. It's like, wow, that really does start extremely quickly. We're not even halfway through the first season. For some reason, I thought there was a slower build to this. I thought it was a slower burn.
I will say, We've mentioned a number of times, if you've listened to our friends' podcasts, How I Met Your Mother. And How I Met Your Mother's first season, I think might be one of the best first seasons in sitcoms. Because they reference back to it all the time. All the time. And so all the different things that transpire in that first season are really kind of
inside
it's
jokes.
faster and inside jokes that transpire forever. I thought that this would go longer before Penny kissed Leonard. Maybe this first season kind of lays all of that out, and then we see it go on from there. Like, I don't remember.
I'm feeling like there's a lot of like on-off flirtation for a little while, and then there's a lot of like will they, won't they. Like, I don't think they actually become a couple for a bit still.
I agree. I agree.
Right? Yeah.
But I will say the funny thing about this is, unlike a lot of other sitcoms where it's the very final season, very final episode is like the wedding of Leonard and Penny, they like pair them up middle of the way through, I feel like, and they are together the rest of the way, with like, bumps and bruises and stuff, I'm sure. But still, they are the couple, and they're together more Monica and Chandler like, throughout many seasons.
Yeah, because then it really becomes more about the other relationships too, because I feel like, I mean, I guess it could be debated as to who is the main character, Leonard or Sheldon, right? When it comes down to it. Is it sort of both of them? Because it really becomes more about, well, what's happening with Sheldon and his relationship too, and how is Sheldon evolving over the entire series? I would say almost becomes more of the point of tension.
I think these things happen when you have a long-running TV show. And so it is without question, in my eyes, at this moment, that Leonard is the main character. And Penny is the love interest, and Sheldon is Leonard's quirky friend.
Yeah.
And as we go, and Leonard and Penny kind of have their relationship kind of hit its arc, we pick it up with like Sheldon's arc going forward.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we introduce Amy Farrah Fowler, this whole thing flips on its head.
I love her. I think she's my favorite character in the series. So can't wait for her. I don't know.
Bernadette is really high up there for me. She's great. She's great. I feel like she's the one that gets forgotten, and she shouldn't be.
Oh,
she's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. She finally she balances Howard out.
Yes.
Thank God. Because that is quite the task. So.
Well, thank you so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. Please check us out on our social media, our Instagram, our YouTube, and others, whatever you find us on. We're out there. You can find our podcast on Spotify, and you can find it on Apple Podcasts, and you can find it on all other podcast players. Plus, you can find us at Patreon at We Run on Reruns. All these places that you can. Do the thing you like to do on social media. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, 5-star ratings, share the stuff. We really appreciate all the support we're seeing across the board. Thank you so much for all of that. And so for Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy watching The Big Bang Theory episodes 7 and 8 of season 1. That is The Dumpling Paradox and The Grasshopper Experiment for next week. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.